Recently, Reddit has been abuzz with revelations from a private gathering where David Grusch was the keynote speaker. This exclusive event, attended by professionals ranging from professors and lawyers to retired military and active FBI agents, offered insights into a secret UFO program. In this video, I'll delve into these revelations shared by an attendee that are now capturing attention on social media. Stay tuned as I unfold what this means for the UFO community and beyond. Let's begin with the Reddit post that led to the attendee speaking about the private presentation where David Grusch was a speaker, in which there was only 50 attendees. He was one of them, and he divulged what David Grusch said, at least much of what he said during that presentation. So it all started with this Reddit post titled, "Will Grusch's op-ed be jaw-dropping?" Hey y'all, I hope everyone is chilling tonight. With Grusch's op-ed potentially coming out in the next week or so, I have to gather thoughts from the community on what to expect from this paper. Do we think there will be some grand revelations, or will it be a bit empty? Obviously, all indicators point to it being quite interesting, considering Grusch's position as an intel officer on the UAP task force. But how much new info will he be able to share? Would love to hear some speculation among the comment section. Regardless, I'm totally looking forward to it. Have a great night, everyone. So later in this Reddit post, someone further down the post chimed in, and I quote, and I'm going to show you my rendition of it because I got rid of some typos and cleared it up. And I quote, "I actually went to a private 60-person presentation with David Grusch as the speaker. This was mostly all private citizens, as in professors, lawyers, business people, a few scientists, retired military, current FBI, and other government agency members. In the end, we were allowed to ask questions. Some asked him about this, and what he said was that he was part of an extremely secret program that had figured out how to track and find UAPs in our atmosphere and near Earth orbit. He said his op-ed will include much more details regarding this." Now, to set you up for the analysis of this first segment, we're quoting by the alleged attendee of the David Grusch presentation, and I say alleged, but he did have a photo of it, which I will show you later in this video. But anyways, to set you up for this analysis of the first segment that I quoted, I'm going to quickly give you a quote from the June 5th debrief.org article that broke the David Grusch story, giving you a quick overview of what his responsibilities were that are relevant to this video within the U.S. government. And I quote, "The whistleblower David Grusch, 36, a decorated former combat officer in Afghanistan, is a veteran of the National Geospatial Agency, NGA, and the National Reconnaissance Office, NRO. He served as the Reconnaissance Office's representative to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force from 2019 to 2021. From late 2021 to July 2022, he was the NGA's co-lead for UAP analysis and its representative to the task force." So his involvement in the NGA and the NRO underscore his familiarity with satellite systems and his engagement with them during official capacities. And these are some of the most sensitive efforts by the U.S. government. And this underscores how trusted he was and how highly cleared he was when he was in the United States government. And on around December 11th, speaking to Elizabeth Vargas of News Nation, he stated, and I quote, "I was read into a UAP-related program directly by the U.S. government." Now, this is in the context of what he's going to share in his upcoming op-ed, where he explained to Elizabeth Vargas that he's a first-hand witness within the context of being read into a UAP-related program directly by the U.S. government. However, the Redditor goes further, assuming he's got this correct, and I'm just reporting what he stated. But the Redditor says that he was part of this super secret program that figured out how to track and find UAPs in our atmosphere and near Earth orbit. And that is going to be part of what his upcoming op-ed is about, where he explains his first-hand involvement in this capacity. And in the following clip, Representative Jared Moskowitz of Florida, Democrat, asked David Grusch about satellite imagery from the July 26th UFO hearing where David Grusch testified under oath. And in fact, I suspected for a while now that he was part of a UFO program during his tenure in the NGA NRO. And that suspicion of mine looks like it's panning out to be accurate.
Okay. Satellite imagery. Let's talk about satellite imagery. We have satellites all over the place, some that we're aware of and many that we're not aware of, right? We're taking pictures of everything at every point and second. Mr. Grusch, are you aware, do you have direct knowledge, or have you talked to people with direct knowledge that there are satellite imagery of these events?
That was one of my primary tasks at NGA, since we process, exploit, and disseminate that kind of information. I've seen multiple cases, some of which, to my understanding, and of course I left NGA in April, so that's my information cutoff date. But I personally reviewed both what we call overhead collection and from other strategic and tactical platforms that I could not even explain prosaically. And I have a degree in physics, by the way, as well. And I am aware that you guys have not seen these reports, unfortunately. And I don't know why.
Do you have direct knowledge, or you had spoken to people with direct knowledge that this imagery applies to crash sites, crash imagery?
I can't discuss that in an open session.
Okay, so right after that first segment that I shared with you that was published on Reddit from the attendee of the private presentation delivered by David Grusch, someone stated, "Whoa, need more info, buddy. What was the background of the presentation? Why was Grusch speaking? Anything else worth reporting?" To which the attendee responded, and I quote, "It was hosted by a Wall Street bigwigs and his lawyer friend. It was sort of a small saloon-style talk. David also did it for free. Even went as far as to fly into New York City just for this. He had arrived only a few hours beforehand and then left first thing the next day. The idea was to get a group of both skeptics and believers from all these different walks of life for a talk regarding David and the things he had said. Most of the people that left had left as believers, or at the very least believed that David was not lying and truly believed everything he said. He also mentioned a few other things that I haven't heard him say before, like that he was told about a UAP that was in our possession that had a diameter of around 40 feet, but once you went inside, it was the size of a football field. They believed that the object was somehow able to manipulate both space and time. He also said that the object was both using and creating energy that was more than a terawatt when measured. which is an absolutely ridiculous amount of power, something along the line of 1 trillion watts. He also mentioned that he had recently been informed that a U.S. adversary was considering full disclosure to get out ahead of the U.S., and that he passed this information along to the U.S. government. He also alluded to the retaliation that was taken against him. It sounded pretty terrifying, and he wasn't the only one to be retaliated against. Multiple people involved in not only his investigation, but also his fellow peers in the UAP task force, such as Jay Stratton, were also threatened. He wouldn't go too much into it since it's an open investigation, but these people pretty much showed him that they could touch him or his family anytime they wanted. He also mentioned that the U.S. has taken part in a fair amount of crash retrievals before 1933. Also, that we wouldn't be surprised by what the NHI, non-human intelligences, look like, such as they look like the typical gray, and they aren't sure where these beings have come from. There's also a chance that they are extra dimensional, but that it could also just seem this way because of the technology they use rather than them being actual extra dimensional beings. Interestingly, he also mentioned how many people know the full scope of the phenomenon to be no more than 50 people, but it wasn't clear whether this meant 50 people currently alive or 50 people ever in history. All in all, it was extremely interesting and pretty hopeful for the future of disclosure. This was after the UAP amendment was shut down, and that he believes we will know much more in the near future. So that's great to hear that the attendee recounts that during this private presentation, David Grusch said, "We will know more, a lot more soon," and he got the impression from the overall presentation that disclosure is going in a positive direction. And here is an image that a reporter for the Roswell Daily Record posted, I believe from that Reddit post, which shows Grusch giving the private presentation. And here's Christopher Sharp, the founder of Liberation Times, sharing his perspective on the gutting of the UAP Disclosure Act. "It is my belief that successful efforts to thwart the Senate-drafted UAP Disclosure Act will backfire." So a lot of interesting things going on, a lot of moving parts. It's looking good as we progress into 2024. That about wraps it up. I look forward to David Grusch's op-ed that should be coming out pretty soon in further developments in 2024. I'm in the process of working on a fun, lighthearted prediction video for 2024, and that may be my next video. Please do not forget to subscribe. And if you'd like to support my channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You can become a patron. You can become a YouTube member. You can give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities can be accessed in the description box below. Or you can just slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.